to understand your purpose. We will help you to find your wind. We'll show you how to open your wings and fly. Healing Moments. Fit FM 96.7. Your life, your music.
Join Fit FM weeknights at 8 p.m. for News Brief, a compilation of news stories from Trelawney and neighboring parishes provided by credible news sources, with a repeat at 10 a.m. weekday mornings. That's News Brief, weeknights at 8 p.m., with a repeat weekdays at 10 a.m. on Fit FM 96.7. Your life, your music.
Every word of worship. With one accord. Every praise. Tuesday mornings on Fit FM. It's all about worship and praise. Hey, join me, the Reverend Junior Rutti, on Fit FM 96.7, 8:30 a.m. through 10 a.m. for Praise Up Tuesday, your mid-morning experience. Come with me every Tuesday as we send up the praises to our God on this station, Fit FM 96.7, your life, your music. Y'all got it now. Help us sing it. Every praise.
Hi there, I'm Julia Meikle-Benaya. Join me weekday evenings at 6 p.m. for Gospel and Soul, a program that gives you the very best in gospel music from Jamaica and around the world. That's Gospel and Soul, weekday evenings at 6 p.m. on Fit FM 96.7. Your life, your music.
So here I am, the controversial Ed Wallace. I'm on Community Buzz every Monday afternoon from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. on Fit FM 96.7. Call me. Our number is 876-482-4944. Let us discuss topics affecting your community: education, health, community development, infrastructure, and anything else. Remember, Community Buzz, Mondays 3 to 6 on Fit FM 96.7. Your life, your music.
Under the pressures of your life and it tough. No stay down, mama, time pick it up.
Yeah, welcome to another Monday afternoon. Yeah, last Monday we had Labor Day, so it go public holiday. Um, welcome, nonetheless. The drought is broken, all kind of good things happening. Yeah, man. My plants are dancing, man. My plants are dancing, and I hope all those gardeners that were hoping for the rain are actually satisfied because we really don't want too much, because I'm afraid when the place got so hot and then cool down suddenly, I normally fear that there's an earthquake on the on the horizon. So let's just continue to gradually cool down rather than us having any floods at this point in time. Yeah, just want to welcome all our friends on Fit FM 96.7 radio. Your life, your music. Want to welcome also our Facebook viewers, Twitter, Instagram, and all the radio apps. YouTube, yeah, the YouTubers. Welcome. And then fitfmja.com. Yeah, I hope that I call that my best listening. When I listen to radio on fitfmja.com, I get the best listening ever. Remember, today this is a talk program, and you're going to have to interact. I'm asking you to come and interact with me on some of the issues that you have on your mind. And if there's anything that I've been saying that you can relate to or want to deal with, then you can call us at 876-482-4944 and text, WhatsApp, everything like that. And the other number is 876-317-1991. And so those lines will be open. We have a guest this afternoon coming from the family court. That's Ms. Kedish Fletcher, and she will be with us at about 3:30 for us to find out what exactly takes place in the justice ministry and particularly in the family court arena. Is the family court just about picnic maintenance and that kind of a thing? So she's going to shed some light on what we're dealing with when we're dealing with the family court. As you know, for the last few weeks or so, I've been emphasizing family, saying that the problems that we're having now are more linked to family than not. And so this is a good kind of the narrative to continue on as we go. Just want to big up our few initial listeners. Dr. Ash, as usual. Dr. Asher, welcome this afternoon. We have also Grub Cooper. And Grub, I tell you, from them Trelawney Carnival days there, on stage, Shake Showground. Yeah, man, welcome. Did I just see Julia Michael Benaya? I did. I did. Welcome. All right, so this afternoon as we're going, I just like to send some big ups to, guess what, people? You know some going to work classes. I do some classes, man. Actually, I'm doing a course with the Inter-American Development Bank on online learning. I tell you this not to brag, but to segue into saying hello to my Team Edmodo. And we name the team of the actual platform that we're studying. And that is one of those areas where virtual learning can be executed, can be carried out. And so our Team Edmodo, I know the rest of the school not listening, but big up everybody. Team Edmodo, we're talking about Christian, big up Christian from Trinidad and Tobago. Yeah, man. Dr. Sadika, but I hear the name pronounced a little bit differently. Sadika Khan. She is a university lecturer down there in Trinidad and Tobago, and she is kind of my mainstay in the main backer in this course that we're doing. We have a wonderful team, Valerie Seymour down there. Valerie is where again now? Valerie, I come back to where Valerie is from. But we have Petra Bellard. She's from Curacao. Valerie is from the Bahamas. And so I just want to welcome you if you're listening, guys, and tell you that I thank you for the support that I've been getting while I'm on this course. You've been very, very kind to me. You know, later tonight, I know we're going to link up again. Special. So I did say special welcome to Miss Fletcher, right? So Miss Fletcher, we're hoping to have you at about 3:30, and I hope that you will be able to enlighten us on the issues we are here to discuss. Birthdays, Paula Smith, my darling, darling Paula Smith. Oh Lord, a most wonderful woman there in Grand Cayman. Paula Smith, happy birthday to you. God's richest blessings to you, and may all that you put your hand to become productive, fruitful, and deliver what it is intended to deliver. So have a wonderful birthday, Paula. God bless you. Anniversaries. Friends of Trelawney just celebrated 40 years of their existence. And on Sunday, they had a YouTube program, which they couldn't have the regular picnic in New York or anywhere else in the States because of COVID-19. But they had their event virtually. I think the theme was affected, but still effective. Yeah. Coming off the COVID spin. And it's a nice little theme. It was a good little ceremony, a good little watch. So if you did not see it, you can go back on YouTube because I did it on YouTube. Go to YouTube and find Friends of Trelawney Association, and you will see their celebrations there. Everybody was there. Our new Custos was there. His Worship the Mayor was there. President of the Trelawney chapter, all sorts of people who have been involved in the good works of Friends of Trelawney. Their main project that they've worked on year in, year out is a hospital, delivering goods and services to the hospital, the Falmouth Hospital. And they're even assisting with housing too. Lorna Jackson, president here, teacher Lorna Jackson, deaconess Lorna Jackson, Fit FM, Baptist, what should I say, host for well, she's very big on participating in the church activities and all of that. So just want to say good job to those who were involved. Roseanne Green, Dr. Roseanne Green, big up too. You must be tired even up to now. I know what you had put in to get this thing going. In terms of losses, loss of loved ones and so on, I just want to keep in our memory Mrs. Andrea Garwood. You know, we do that every week just the same because of that terrible event that took place. And we keep them in mind and keep their church family in mind. For all the victims in Jamaica who passed, whether by virtue of murder, we're still having some bad things happening in Jamaica. And believe you me, I don't know. I just want to say to the people who have suffered loss. Last week, within the last 2 weeks, we're hearing about children being killed. A woman is now in the burnt unit in Florida somewhere. She's from Hanover. Her partner set her ablaze and set her business ablaze and all that kind of thing. And we don't know what kind of stupidness this is happening. But we just want to ask God to send a holy comforter to tarry with you in your time of grieving and in your time of need. And that's a Fit FM prayer. All right. So we hope that we will have you recovering from your loss, or at least stabilizing from your loss as you grapple with your situation in very short order. Um, as I usually do, we go to the minutes. Rockbridge. And the minutes are go kind of long. Rockbridge. We're still not hearing anything about Rockbridge. You know what? I'm going to defer the argument on this one. We're still not hearing anything on Rockbridge except now rumors that it will not be open again. And there is something wrong with that. I don't know. We need to be spoken to. We need some dialogue. We need to understand if it is not going to be reopened, why? If it's a lie, if the rumor is a lie, then we also need to know. So we don't have any kind of unnecessary debates and discussion over it. Refuge Road, street lighting, we're still on that. We're hoping for the authorities to get with the community of Refuge and of Stuart Castle. I just came into Stuart Castle and boy, my driver was saying, wait, you have a fish pond up here, man. Right in the middle of the road. So we need some help with some of these facilities, these infrastructure. Last week, we also looked at COVID-19 as usual. Looked at the Sunday dinner. That I don't know if you all remember the Sunday dinner story with the Rasta man who stopped by me to ask for food for his family, inclusive of his father. But times hard, and that was a reminder that times are hard. Had another conversation with Mr. Biggs, and it gets worse. We also dealt with the question of the fire truck. We also mentioned the fire truck again. That was the one fire truck for Falmouth that was lost in a fire. Just ironic that a fire truck burned up in a fire. We've heard nothing more about it except that I'm still concerned that the last we heard of it was that it will be replaced soon. We don't know of any investigation to find out how it took place and to ensure that something like this does not happen again. We dealt with a revenge squad that was going to take revenge in terms of, and it just speaks to the violent nature of our nation. So I don't want to run into that again. And then we spoke to the idea of Indicom and what seemed to be a premature kind of utterances in relation to the shootout that took place on Hope Road involving the police. That investigation, we have no idea yet how far it has gone. We saw the Minister of National Security responding to Indicom, and essentially, though, the fight between the police and Indicom over this matter would have been quashed by now and back on track with everybody doing what they're supposed to do, both in terms of investigation from Indicom's point of view and from the police continuing to do their work in the streets of Jamaica because we're under siege, So we spoke about Indicom. We also spoke about the Mobi bypass that is supposed to be built and how the government is saying that we're going up by construction and what the opposition is saying. Again, that's another fight. We just need to know that people in Jamaica, Jamaicans, get jobs on this project and that the project is done properly, completed on time, within budget, and so, the thing can run smoothly. So we spoke about the construction of the Mobi bypass and the plans that the government has. Labor Day curfew. We were locked in all day for Labor Day. You laugh. We were locked in all day for Labor Day. As a matter of fact, not just Labor Day. From Sunday afternoon, we were locked down until Tuesday morning. What is happening, though? It seemed to me that the measures are essentially working. Again, we're going to have a discussion because over that same weekend period, we had a situation at Rick's Cafe in Negril where it was party like you never partied before. I think that may have been 2 or 3 days of parties, and that has become a big stink on the island. Um, while some are locked down, other people are able to party and do their thing and outcomes. And I did say to you, I have said to you over and over again, that Jamaica is a how come country. How come them can do it and we can't do it? How come? How comes them get that and we can't get that? How comes? Yeah. So we have to be careful of what we do because equality under the law is essential for the operation of a decent running country. Essential. If people get the sense that some people get more benefits than the other under similar circumstances, there's going to be trouble, especially when you're dealing with Jamaica. So you lock down a man party in a Fletcher's Land or somewhere in a central Kingston, somewhere in a Montego Bay, and you have this party now in Negril that seems like because it was a big man's party, nothing was done. It was allowed to go on. I don't think we must leave out the fact though that at some point in time the police did go and stop the party, as would be required by the emergency conditions that we are operating under right now. So we spoke of that. As I said, the lockdown seemed to be working. The thing is, it is working at a very big cost. If we're not careful, when we even look at the Ritz Cafe party as opposed to the party that is happening in the various communities that are locked down, people are desperate to have a comeback to economic activity, whatever that is, because people are feeling it. And so I'm saying that there might be a need for a rethink because yes, the efforts that the government is putting into this lockdown and everything, they're working, obviously working, but we can't live that way forever. So there needs to be a backing off of the screw, I am thinking, to try to take our time to return to some level of economic activity. Gradually, yes, but we can't stay in this fixed position. It's not going to happen. It's not going to work out. And so I'm looking forward to hearing the government make some announcement because we're running the numbers that we're running, and this is a segue into the COVID numbers now. The numbers that we're running in terms of COVID right now is are as follows. Over the past 24 hours, we have had 79 cases, and we've been bubbling between 79 and 100 and little bit for the last few weeks now. It's a nice piece of encouragement that if we do what we're supposed to do, it will work. So we're at 79. Yesterday was just one death. Every death counts, but yesterday there was just one. We're coming from a whole heap sometimes and all that kind of thing. And to tell the truth, Trinidad and Tobago, they're experiencing some situation that is quite bad right now, especially for their size and population. And also, Trinidad, a country like Trinidad and Tobago is grappling with the full throes of COVID. Every day that Prime Minister is out on radio or television giving warnings and monitoring the situation there. We have a situation now where we have total cases, 48,000, that is since January, February, March of last year to now, 48,000. So you can see that there's a definite slowing because we went to those 900 figures at one time and we have taken it down. And so we're dealing with a lesser number now, far lesser number. Active cases, we have 24,528 cases. And in our hospital, we have 162 So we want to eliminate it totally, but the fact of the matter is that we are not at critical point with respect to our hospital beds. For parishes, Trelawney and surrounding parishes, Manchester, their figure from March last year to now is 2,885. For St. Anne, 3,113. For St. Elizabeth, 1,941. For St. James, 4,595. And for Trelawney, 1,651. But as we say, like for example, over the last 24 hours, Trelawney had no case of COVID detected. I don't know what to read into that, but on the face of it, it is a good sign. All right. News coming up is, well, for the time being, we'll just rest it there, and we're going to take a short break. And after the break, we will still be here. We'll be right back to deal with the other issues with which we have to deal. All right, so we'll be right back. Take a short break.
Music good? Ready, on. Lights up.
Don't judge me, cause I could be wrong. You don't know my story, you only know my songs. Every time you do something or say something to bring me down, I'll return stronger than before. Stronger than before. I'll show you my heart is pure. Oh yes, better than before. Better than before. I rise from the floor like you've never seen before. Been through too much now, and I can't see how your words gonna break me. I'm growing wiser, I'm a survivor, and nothing you do can shake me. I've been through the fire, left inside to burn. Somehow I return stronger than before. Stronger than before. I'll show you my heart is pure. Oh yes, better than before. I rise from the floor like you've never seen before. Them a point finger, them a judge me, and feed them like some messed up. Before you tell all your lies on me, you ain't turn and shake up. Yeah, me now have no time for you. Do anything you want to. Just know that I'll return stronger than before. Stronger than before. I'll show you my heart is pure. Oh yes, better than before. I rise from the floor like you've never seen before. Oh yes, never seen before. Yeah, sticks and stones can break my bones, but your words can't do no harm. They only make me stronger. My heart is pure. Oh yes, better than before. Oh yes, I rise from the floor like you've never seen before. Stronger than oh yes, I'll show you my heart is pure. Oh yes, better than before. I rise from the floor like you've never seen. Don't judge nobody, 'cause you could be wrong. You don't Yes, you could be wrong every time you do.
Lights up.
Don't judge me, cause I could be wrong. You don't know my story, you only know my songs. Every time you do something or say something to bring me down, I'll return stronger than before. Stronger than before. I'll show you my heart is pure. Oh yes, better than before. Better than before. I rise from the floor like you've never seen before. Been through too much now, and I can't see how your words gonna break.
Yes, we're back, and we have our guest online. But just before our guests, I didn't put the S at the end there. I hear you never hear it, man. Oh gosh, man. All right, before we go to our guest, let me just big up Reverend Rotty, who is on Facebook here with us. Let me see. Jillian, hey Jillian, thank you for tuning in, Jillian. And we have Charlie Beckford, and Mr. Porter, Hugh Anthony Porter, my good friend from the Water Commission days. Good afternoon to Miss Kadish Fletcher and Mr. Ian Godfrey. Are you both there?
Yes, I'm here, but the name is Ivan, not Ian.
Ivan, sorry. I'm sorry, Ivan.
That's okay.
Mr. Ivan
Good
Godfrey.
afternoon.
Good afternoon, Miss
Good
Fletcher.
afternoon.
Good afternoon, Miss Fletcher.
Good afternoon to you and good afternoon to your listeners.
All right. Good
Okay,
afternoon.
good afternoon, and thanks for having us.
I tell you, it's pleasing to welcome you both. I've been running a theme for the last few weeks about the importance of family in the whole business of solving some of our nation's problems. And so it is just so very good to have you here, because some people consider that the root of our problem has to do with our children and how they are brought up and how they come into maturity to participate in Jamaican society. So this afternoon, I would want, first of all, if you could, just each of you tell us a little bit about yourselves. I know, Mr. Godfrey, that you're operating out of Trelawney, and my understanding is that, Ms. Fletcher, you're operating out of Kingston. Could you please go ahead?
Ladies
All
before
right.
gentlemen.
Miss Fletcher,
Okay,
Miss Fletcher.
that's fine. My name is Kadish Fletcher. I am the Acting Director for Client Services, Communications, and Information at the Court Administration Division. The Court Administration Division is the administrative arm of the judiciary. We are an entity under the Supreme Court of Jamaica, and so we report to a head of entity and to the Chief Justice.
Okay.
Mr. Godfrey?
All right, Mr. Godfrey, your turn.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ivan Godfrey, and I'm the clerk of court at the Trelawney Family Court.
Okay. Well, everybody curious about this family court, whether or not is just picnic maintenance we deal with. So somebody needs to tell us now, what does the family court do?
Okay, thank you so much for that question. So the family court is a court which tries to deal with the holistic aspect of the family. So as you indicated, we deal with a wide range of cases, not limited to maintenance. So we also deal with custody and access to children. We also deal with domestic violence cases. We also deal with declaration of paternity, division of property, and adoption cases. In relation to maintenance cases, it isn't only child maintenance that we deal with. We also deal with spousal maintenance, so that's husband and wife maintenance, parental maintenance and maintenance of grandparents.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of in-court activities, we also have a social services unit which deals with counseling, parental guidance, and other aspects.
Mm-hmm. All right, you piqued my interest there. Firstly, we didn't know that this is your services ran this gamut. That you had so many different
I'm
aspects.
sorry, but I'm not hearing.
I'm saying.
I'm
I'm
Mhm.
saying that I'm sorry that we really didn't know that you did so much, because this is a whole lot that you've put on the plate. You might even have to repeat some of them as we go through for you to explain to us exactly what you do in some. And
Sure, no
the
problem.
point that I want to start with, believe it or not, is spousal maintenance.
I'm so sorry, but you're breaking up, so I'm only intermittently hearing you.
Okay, spousal maintenance. Tell us a little bit.
No, I'm so sorry, but I'm only intermittently hearing you.
We're hearing you clearly. I'm not so sure what is happening. But Miss Fletcher,
Hello?
if you're there, you can go ahead with a question or explaining how the spousal maintenance thing operates. Hello?
I'm so sorry, but I'm not hearing the questions.
Oh, I'm not so sure
Miss
what is
Fletcher, are you
happening
hearing?
myself.
Am I only the person having an issue?
We're hearing you quite well. We're hearing you quite well. And if you're hearing me, I would like for you to go ahead and explain the spousal maintenance situation, because so go ahead if you will.
Okay, I'm hearing a little better now. Could you just repeat the question for me?
All right, I want you to explain to us, how do we go about, how do we treat with the whole business of spousal maintenance? Spousal maintenance, I'm asking, Mr. Godfrey. Having problem.
All right, I'm hearing you perfectly now. You're asking me about spousal maintenance.
Yes, we are.
Okay. All right. So in terms of spousal maintenance, what the law says is that either spouse has an obligation to maintain the other spouse so far as they are able to. So the law contemplates both common law unions, which are a union between an unmarried man and unmarried woman for a period of 5 years or more, and it also contemplates married couples, which is a husband and wife who have gone through some type of matrimonial ceremony. So what the law says is that where there is a breakdown in the marriage and the parties are still married, or where there is a breakdown in the common law union and one spouse believes that they are in need of some maintenance, they can apply to the court, and the court, looking into the means of both parties, can grant an order for one spouse to maintain the other for a specific period of time, not going into perpetuity.
Okay. All right, that is quite clear. The other aspects, because another aspect that I'd like to explore is parental maintenance, because we have cases in a hospital here in Jamaica, hospitals across Jamaica, where people go and drop off their parents and leave them as wards of the government in the public hospitals. Could you speak a little bit to how that is treated?
Certainly. So the same Maintenance Act indicates that so far as the children are able to, they have an obligation to maintain both parents and grandparents. So if it is a case where they are able to and they're not, the parent or the grandparent can come to the court and apply for maintenance.
Okay. The parent can apply?
Yes.
Okay.
So a parent can apply and a grandparent can apply. And then in the reverse aspect as well, where a parent is unable to, by reason of um, physical infirmity or mental infirmity or death, a grandparent can be brought to court to maintain that child as well.
Oh,
So
okay.
it goes in all directions. So it contemplates all kinds of situations.
So when the dispute comes now for a child saying, which is often, especially with fathers, when a child come to
Mm-hmm.
make the argument that him never mind me, so how him a come
Mm-hmm.
sue me for mind him?
Mm-hmm.
How do
Mm-hmm.
we treat with situations like those?
All right. I have actually seen situations like that before, but what the court tries to do in situations like that is come to some type of conclusion that is favorable to all the parties. Because even though we might, or a person might be of the view that a parent hasn't maintained them in the way that they should have, we still have to recognize at the end of the day that they are our parents, and were it not for them, you wouldn't have been, born. So as I said, the court will look into the ability of the child to maintain the parent. So if it's a case where they're legitimately unable to, then the court wouldn't force that burden on them.
Well, we're not. I really not talking about the ability, because some people have the means.
Yeah, man, I understand.
But
I understand.
from what we can
Well, the
fill up.
truth is, if I might just add here, the truth is that the court considers everything that is before it. And so we can't really speculate as to how the court would deal with a matter of that nature. We would have to allow the party to present all sides of the situation, and then the court will make a determination that is in the best interest of both parties
All right,
as much as is possible.
all right, let me ask a question this way then. A father, because it's usually a father in Jamaica, a father has not been dealing with his responsibilities any at all. But then here comes, he finds a son or a daughter who he thinks is in a big position, and decides to sue. Perhaps don't even know the child in any way, except that he spawned that child. It takes the child to court. Is there any possibility that the court would rule that the child has no need to take care of that parent?
Well, the law permits that the matter can be brought before the court. It is then for the court to determine what would be in the best interest of the parties concerned. No two matter would be the same, and that is why every matter that comes before the court is heard by the judge and not just determined.
Mm-hmm.
So, to repeat what I said, it would be for the parties to indicate their position to the court and allow then for the court to make a determination based on those specific circumstances. We cannot speculate as to how a judge would rule on a matter of this nature without having all the details, without having the benefit of all the details of the matter. Right? But the law does allow for the matter to be brought before the court.
Oh, I get you. I won't press. In the matter of delinquent parenting, where does your department come in?
Okay, well, the family court also deal with family criminal matters. So parents can be brought before the family court for cruelty to children. They can be brought to the family court as well for cases where they have the children on the road begging. The family court also has a children court aspect to it, and so children in turn can also be brought before the court where they are deemed to be in need of care and protection. And this can be done by any police officer, or it can be done by an officer of the Child Protection and Family Services Agency. But in respect of where parents are brought for cruelty to child, it's a criminal matter, and it can bring a custodial, which means a prison sentence.
But in terms of negligence of the parent, as I said, delinquency in parenting, is it a remedy to actually remove the child from the home or the children?
Yes, there are possibilities where the court can take away custody, care, and control of a child from the parents if that is what the particular case requires. So as Ms. Fletcher had alluded, the court deals with each case on a case-by-case basis and on the merits of each case. So there have been, are, and will be situations where in the best interest of the child, they have to be removed from the care of the parent. And normally what is made is a fit person order is made to what we used to call CDA, Child Development Agency, which is now called the Child Protection and Family Services Agency. So a fit person order is made to them, and then thereafter, the child is either sent to a foster care facility or the child is sent into foster care with a approved foster parent.
Recently in the news, and I know, see, when I ask you those questions that have to do with judgments, I would hope that you could respond to me in respect of precedents. However, recently in the news, we have a situation at the Maxfield Park Children's Home. What is there to well, the situation is in dispute, but where we find situations where there are abuses in children's home, how does the government function to ensure or to mitigate against such instances? Because it has been a nightmare story. We have had the burning down of homes, at least two, if I recall. And then this Maxfield Park situation is another. And I'm sure that there are incidents that we have not heard about. How do you remove a child to put into one of these facilities? What's the consideration?
Could I just say the last part of the sentence?
I sounds like Miss Fletcher got it.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that the operations of the children's homes are outside the remit of the judiciary, where matters are whatever the matter is that is brought before the court. If a child is deemed to be harmed or if any crime has been committed, whatever it is, then the judiciary or the judge, the court, will deal with that matter as it comes. But as it relates to the operations of the homes and what takes place within the homes, those are outside the remit of the judiciary.
Just to add to what Ms. Fletcher was saying, it can be looked on in two ways. It can be a situation where the child, and I'm not speaking specifically to the circumstances that you outlined, but just in general. So it can be an aspect where the child is the one that is giving trouble in the home, or it can be an aspect where a caregiver at the home might find themselves running afoul of the law in terms of how they're caring for the child. In both aspects, a criminal matter can arise outside of essentially a criminal aspect would arise, and so it is dealt with in two different ways. So the adult can or would be brought to the adult criminal court, or known as the parish court for that parish, and the child can be brought to the family court or children court for that parish.
Okay.
Whatever sanctions can flow, whether it be fines, terms of imprisonment for the adult, or the child being given a correctional order for which they have to go to a child correctional facility.
All right. So I get that. But one of the things that the Jamaican public often ask is, how do you, I know the judgment is in terms of the court, in terms of the judge. But how do you make a decision to take a child off the street who is begging, goes home every evening, but is begging? How do you take that child off the street, and put them in a situation where they are even less safe?
Okay. All right. The first thing that I will say is that it is not all matters that come to the children court which conclude in the child being taken from the parent.
Understood.
Oftentimes there are situations where parents just need additional assistance. So once the child is before the court, we take a multidisciplinary or multi-agency approach to the situation. So there are different agencies that will assist. Perhaps it's a case where parent needs some type of parental counseling or parenting classes and so on. And so there are associations or organizations that will do that. It might be a situation where the child is going out there of their own volition. Parent has no control over them. And so there are agencies that will deal with counseling the child, deal with curbing their behavior. In the rarer cases, the child is taken from the parent, and the state tries its very best to ensure that the children are placed with parents or with persons or in an agency or home that operates and acts within the remit of the law and outside of the whole legalese of it. We try to put children somewhere where they can be loved, nurtured, nourished, and they can grow. And where we find that there is some shortcoming in relation to that, sanctions will flow and the state will do what it has to do, for whatever is the best interest of the child in the situation.
Okay. In terms of keeping, we're moving a little way now into how the child is cared for. Is there any follow-up to ensure that there is no abuse, and what constitutes abuse, especially when it comes to disciplining a child?
Very well. All right. The Child Care and Protection Act is very clear as when it comes to child abuse. So what it does is that it contemplates and understands that there are multiple ways of abusing children outside of physical violence. So what the section of the Act says is that cruelty to child can take the form of assaulting, physically or mentally ill-treating the child, neglecting the child, abandoning the child, exposing the child to danger in any way, causing someone else. So situations where the parent might not be the one doing it, but there's somebody else that is abusing the child within the knowledge of the parent.
Another case.
Yes, so it looks at whether the child is suffering due to injury of health, loss of sight, hearing, limbs, organs, and so on, or mental derangement. So what it does is that the section is so wide that it encapsulates any type of abuse that can be meted out at a child. And just to indicate that if that matter goes to the circuit court, the maximum sentence is 5-year imprisonment and a fine.
Okay.
If it goes before our court or another parish court, there is a fine of up to $1 million or a term of imprisonment not exceeding 3 years.
All right. So I'm still at a loss though, and I kind of get what we cannot do as foster parents or people running a home. I kind of get what we cannot do in terms of discipline, but what can we do in terms of discipline? What is allowed?
Okay. Well, how I will answer that question is, to my mind, when you remove the things that you cannot do, then it will leave the things that you can do. So I am sure, and as Ms. Fletcher stated earlier, the court doesn't have remit for the operations of childcare facilities. But what I will say is, any type of discipline which, to my mind, doesn't involve physically touching the child, doesn't involve belittling or allowing the child to feel like less of a person, to my mind, would constitute punishment that is applicable and can be used. So, for example, if you want to give the child a timeout, if you want to withdraw privileges such as perhaps use of electronics, playing outside, and so on, then to my mind, that sounds like punishment which would be sufficient and which wouldn't fall foul of the law.
All right. So then, um, how and what is the rate and status of, say, for example, um, acceptance of placement of children in the various facilities, whether it be a private home or
Um,
a.
let me just say at this juncture that those are things that are outside of our remit.
Oh,
Actually,
so there's
right?
no
We
follow up.
focus on what? Say that again.
There's no follow up done by the courts after the decision has been made.
Well, it
What
depends on what do you mean by follow up? It depends on the state of the matter. If a matter is ongoing
Mm-hmm.
and requires social inquiry reports or probationary reports or things like that, then there is that follow up by the different agencies.
Okay.
But if a judgment has been handed down in a matter, then that is the end of the matter as far as the court is
It's
concerned,
concerned. I see.
until or unless there is an appeal of that.
I see. I see.
Okay. And I'll just add. So that is the position by and large, especially for criminal matters,
Mm-hmm.
as it respects for a child which might be in need of care and protection, or a child that is deemed uncontrollable. For example, one of the mechanisms or one of the sentences that a judge can impose is a
Mm-hmm.
probation order. So that child would be under the supervision of, or a supervision order, and then that child would be under the supervision of a children's officer or a probation officer for potentially up to 3 years. And what the judge can build into that probation order or supervision order is whatever the court thinks is necessary for the improvement of that child's life. So it may include counseling, it may include speaking to a psychologist, it may include attending the National Council on Drug Abuse
Mm-hmm.
to assist with situations where the child is abusing substances. It may include that the child is supposed to be enrolled in an educational institution. So there are requisite follow-ups that are done by other agencies, but not necessarily by the court itself.
All right. I may have been remiss in not asking this question. Who is a child?
Who is
Okay, a
a
Child.
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 oh, who is a child? Okay.
Mhm. Well, a child, based on the definition given to us by the Child Care and Protection Act, is anyone under the age of 18 years.
Mhm. All right.
So it's a very, very broad definition.
It is. It is. Where a child does something bad, really, really bad, murder or killing somebody else, is there any protection offered to the child just by virtue of being a child?
Is there any protection to what?
Offered
Given to the child.
Offered to the child just by virtue of that child being a child. Case in point. Case in point. Recently, we charged an under 18 person for murder. Is there anything?
Okay.
Is there anything that protects a child from being? Yes, in the United States of America, some cases, or there was a time when cases used to be treated as what should I say?
But the child is charged as an adult.
Right, right. So what is that situation like here in Jamaica?
Okay. In our jurisprudence, as far as I know, there aren't any situations where children are tried as adults. What happens is that if a child has committed an offense, which in the mind of the court is of such a grave nature that it requires a custodial sentence, what will happen is that if the child would spend the rest of their childhood at a child correctional facility, and thereafter, at the age of 18, they will be transferred to an adult correctional facility, what we know as prison, and then they would serve the rest of the time at the prison, depending on the amount of time that the court has given. But for the duration of the time that they're children, they will spend the sentence at a child correctional facility.
All right. All right. I hope that is clear. listeners, we're speaking to Ms. Fletcher, Kadish Fletcher from the family court, and Mr. Ivan Godfrey also from the family court, but Mr. Godfrey is ours. He works in Trelawney, and that is our point man. You're listening to Fit FM 96.7. We're going to go on for a little bit more with this interview. And I want to change the questions now a little bit, Ms. Fletcher and Mr. Godfrey, to jacket. Jacket. Now, part and parcel of what the court deals with is actually maintenance of the child, particularly, and this is usually on the part of the father. When a father is trapped into a jacket situation and finds out later that he has been maintaining a jacket, is there any remedy for such a situation in the courts?
Okay. There actually is, but it is not pursued at the family court. He has to bring a matter to the parish court, civil jurisdiction.
And in that case, what would that matter be described as or called?
Honestly, that because that is not my area of the law.
I get you.
So I do know of cases where persons have, quickly after leaving the family court and having received the bad news that the children are not theirs, attended upon the parish court, and they have successfully brought matters there.
Okay. Some of the poor man, them so glad though that them get out of it. Them don't even bother with pursuing the matter, but that's another story.
But just to indicate, there are two ways in which a person can find out if a child is theirs before the family court. So they can proper apply for a declaration of paternity, and in those circumstances, the court will order DNA testing to be done, and depending on the result, the court will make an order indicating that the male is the father or is not the father, and then there are attendant orders that flow. So if he is not the father and his name is on the birth certificate, the court will make an order for his name to be removed. If he is the father and his name is not there, the court will make an order for his name to be added, for the child's last name to change from whatever it was before to the father's last name, and so on. If it's a case where a mother has brought a case for maintenance before the court and the father is unsure of paternity, at that point he can ask the court for a DNA test to be done before the court even goes and makes the order for maintenance.
Okay.
So the court will not make an order for maintenance if the potential father is unsure of paternity.
Okay. So there are remedies for that situation. Let us move now a little bit to one of our biggest problems in Jamaica now, and your input on this particular problem, the one of spousal abuse. Where do you come into this picture? Where does the family court come into the issue of spousal abuse? At what point and on who's reporting?
Could you just repeat the last part of that question?
Yes. What is the function of the family court with respect to spousal abuse?
Okay. So the powers of the family court, as it relates to domestic violence, are contained in the Domestic Violence Act. And what it does is that it allows the court to make a protection order and or an occupation order. Get out the feedback. Yes, so it allows the court to make protection or occupation orders in respect of the spouse who is asserting that they have been abused. And just to indicate that it goes both ways. So either a man or a woman can apply for a protection order or an occupation order and an occupation order.
This is where we might have a situation, for example, like the Stockholm syndrome existing. Um, how is that dealt with? Here's a known situation where domestic violence is taking place, but she love him or him love her.
I'm sorry, I didn't get that.
All right. I was asking where we have, and we do have situations like that, where the Stockholm syndrome is in effect. Persons are being abused, but the argument is that they're known to be abused. They're known to be abused, but the person is saying, no, me love him, me love her, that kind of a thing. Is there any kind of treatment for that coming from the family court?
There are certain circumstances where the Domestic Violence Act allows for a third party to make the application for a protection order on behalf of another person.
Okay. All of Jamaica was actually crying out a few weeks ago in relation to a man beating a woman with a stool. Is there is there any facility, any gateway for the law to become involved in a situation like that? And that is why I mentioned the Stockholm syndrome, for the law to get involved in a situation like that and try to solve a problem.
Well, without commenting on the specific circumstances that you have outlined, in general, in relation to criminal matters, there is the need for a complainant. So there needs to be a complainant who is going to and that is just the status of the law as it is now. There needs to be a complainant who is making a complaint and who is going to be sustaining a matter before the courts.
But I specifically referred to the Stockholm syndrome because that is deemed an illness. That is deemed an illness, and so the assumption in that situation is that the abusee, if I can make a word this evening, is is not capable of representing self. So the question was around that. How do we treat with this? I realized too that in the case of Peter was arrested on his threat against his girlfriend. I don't remember her name right now. After that long viral voice note was revealed, he was actually arrested and the law stepped in. So how do we balance this? How do we treat these situations? How do we decide which we are able to intervene?
Let me just say the court steps in, or the court comes into play where there's a complaint. There must first be a complaint, a bona fide complaint, or a charge that is brought, and the court is then asked to adjudicate.
All right, I I get you, Ms. Fletcher. I get you. There has to be a complainant, and the complainant you're suggesting has to be my abusee.
There has to be No, Mr. Godfrey already indicated that there are instances where a third party can.
So, for example, the church can.
Presently, the Domestic Violence Act is being amended by Parliament, so we wait with bated breath to see what the amendments to the legislation will be. I know one of the significant amendments that we're expecting is an increase in the fine as well as the prison time for offenses under the Domestic Violence. Offenses under the Domestic Violence Act.
All right. In Trelawney, Mr. Godfrey, what kind of caseload do we have with respect to, one, child abuse, and then two, spousal abuse, domestic violence?
I am presently unable to give exact statistics, especially along against the grain of the fact that the family court is extremely new. We have just been in the parish for about 2 years now, and so I wouldn't be able to give, effective statistics as to, what the situation is in Trelawney as it relates to child abuse, or as it relates to spousal abuse. But what I can say is that we very regularly do get applications for protection orders or occupation orders, and I have heard of cases of persons being brought for cruelty to child.
Okay. Okay.
If that is information that you require, certainly that is something we can obtain from the statistics unit, but it's not information that we have readily at the moment.
I got that. I got that. It would be a good to know as to whether or not we're doing badly, or just gauging how we're doing with respect to family in Trelawney. What I'm gonna
Certainly we can request that information, and the same can be provided to you.
Okay. What I'm gonna ask you now, again, in terms of Trelawney, Mr. Godfrey, tell us now, how do we get in contact with the family court to deal with issues for us? Could you tell the listeners how we deal with that?
Very well. We can be contacted at 553, so 876-553-5474, or we can be emailed at trelawney.familycourt@RMC, and RMC means Resident Magistrate Courts, at rmc.gov.jm. So that's trelawney.familycourt@rmc.gov.jm. And we're open to the public from 10 o'clock in the morning to 3 o'clock in the afternoon every weekday, and we're accessible by the phone from 8:30 in the morning up until 5 o'clock in the evening.
All right. On a final note, as we close this discussion stroke interview, I want to just contextualize our discussion now, and for you to repeat for us what kind of issues does the family court deal with.
Okay.
And where are the boundaries? Because some of the questions I've asked you so far may have been kind of irrelevant because you are not the ones for whom those questions, or to whom those questions were to be directed. So we don't want to lose the context of your function. So just please repeat for us the services and function that you provide.
Okay, no problem. So the Trelawney Family Court is new to the parish of Trelawney. We're located in Rock District, Trelawney. One of those three white buildings that you see when you're driving past the stoplight.
Yes.
We are open 8:30 to 5 o'clock every day, 10 to 3 to the public, and we offer services for applications for maintenance of child, spouse, parent or grandparent. We offer applications for custody and access to children. We offer applications for domestic violence, declaration of paternity, division of property, and adoption. And adoptions are done through the Child Protection and Family Services Agency. The court also hears all matters where children are charged with criminal offenses. And we also deal with adults charged with cruelty to children and adults that have children begging on the road.
All right, lady and gentlemen, I would want to thank you on behalf of our listeners, on behalf of Fit FM 96.7, Your Life, Your Music. I think I have a very different view now of the family court, and I'm just seeing that the people listening today would have been informed, very better informed about the function of the family court, what you guys do. I am hoping to have another conversation, perhaps in private, so that you can direct me to go to whom I must speak with respect to some of the issues that were raised here that was not within your purview. All right. I want to thank you once again, Ms. Fletcher, Mr. Godfrey, for being here on Fit FM. Any final word? Any final word?
Yes. Yes, thank you so much for having us. And what I will indicate is, in addition to there being a family court in Trelawney, there is also a family court in Clarendon, there's a family court in Kingston and St. Andrew, and there's a family court that operates in St. James, Hanover, and Westmoreland region. If you are outside of those parishes, the majority of the services that are offered by the family court can be had at the parish court for the parish that you're in.
All right. I just want to thank you again for bearing with me, tolerating me as I display my quest for knowledge and learning during this period. And believe you me, you have helped. I want to thank you again ever so much. God willing, we will speak again. Godspeed and take good care of yourself. Be safe.
Have a good evening now.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. We take a break. Yeah, so that was Ms. Fletcher, Kadish Fletcher, and Mr. Ivan Godfrey from the family court. Ms. Fletcher is a director working out of Kingston, while Mr. Godfrey is a clerk of the court here in the Trelawney family court. We can only thank them for being with us here this afternoon. I'm sure that a lot of us have been enlightened.
Yes, yes, baby, yes. When will I see you again? You'll never know goodbye, not a single word was said. No final kiss to see any scene. I had no idea of the state we were in. I know I have a fickle heart and a bitterness and a wandering eye and emptiness in my head. But don't you remember? Don't you remember the reason you love me before? Please remember me once more. When was the last time you thought of me? Or you completely erased me from your memory? I often think about where I went wrong. The more I do, the less I know. And I know I have a bigger heart and a bitterness and a wandering eye and heaviness in my head. But don't you remember? Don't you remember the reason you loved me before? Please remember me once more. I gave you space so you could breathe. I gave my decency you would be free. And I hope you'll find that missing piece to bring you back to me. Why don't you remember? Don't you remember the reason you love me before? Please remember me once more. Don't you remember? Don't you remember the reason you love me before? Please remember
Yes, welcome back, welcome back. I want to take time out. First thing, we are in Community Buzz with Ed Wallace. Just a very informative interview just now, and we're happy that those two people from the family court came along, Miss Fletcher and Mr. Ivan Godfrey out of the Trelawney family court. I want to take time out to just big up some people here. Grub Cooper is watching. Dr. Ash is watching as usual. That one I'm in a business with Julia, somebody, you know. I tell you. Pastor Rotti, thank you for tuning in. Gillian, thank you again. Charlie Beckford is watching also. Hugh Anthony Porter, I feel so encouraged when I see a man like you tuning in, knowing what you bring to the table from time to time. Carlton Samuels, yeah man. Carlton Samuels, my big friend, salute, salute. Shanice Saunders, thank you for tuning in with us. Thelma Gomez, watching us. As a matter of fact, Thelma said, so what if the person not willing to apply for a protection order? What can the court do? Well, it seemed to me, Thelma, that the response to that question was that a third party can actually get in there and do what they must to get that protection order or to get some intervention in the matter. Yes, and I we take your point that they also offer counseling. Pauline Williamson, blessings to you too, and Silma Ellis. Thank you for your statement here. There's also a social aspect to the family court where counseling services are offered to applicants prior to court appearances, and we kind of need more of that kind of a scenario. But I don't know. I don't know. We can't get enough of that based on the kind of things that have been happening in our community. And I would really like to find out where is the proactivity at, how much more can we be proactive in kind of helping the family out in terms of solving problems. From a born a group or come till now, I've been hearing teeth and tongue must meet at some point, but the veracity and the extent to which teeth and tongue are now meeting is I think life with a spouse is almost fearful. And so we just need to get our acts together. With all the reporting that we've heard in recent days, we must find a way to bring back our society to some semblance of some semblance of sanity. All right. Bev Moonchild, thank you for tuning in too. I see you're there. Thank you for the fact that you have tuned in and you've gotten great information as the rest of us. I want to take it now to some issues in the news. I'm very local today in terms of Trelawney. I saw a friend of mine, and somebody must tell me, is Facebook a private place or a public place? If you post something in Facebook, can it be said to be a public posting and we can utilize it? What is my attorney saying? What is my counsel saying on that one? In any case, so a friend of mine posted on Facebook an article in the Star with a man. Well, the article said the man is breeding crabs for the market, and crabs are $3,000 a pound, $3,000 per pound, and all of that. And immediately, the person is from Rock, right? Immediately, some other people came on and they were commenting in relation to the environmental issue that this could cause because you're, overfishing the crabs or overcatching the crabs, whichever term you want to use. And I nearly got upset Because, oh, by the way, this man resides in Rock District. The one raising the crabs or rearing the crab. Rock District. All right. So he's raising his crabs. He go ahead and he catches the crabs. So he isn't actually breeding. But right away, some people jump on the bandwagon to say over crabbing, overfishing. And it gave me a little bit a problem because it seemed to me that every little time we try a little thing, somebody is there to try to shut us down. There must be regulations and No. Admittedly, there can be regulations to deal with the environmental impact of crabbing or fishing, whichever you want it to be. But the truth of the matter is that the first instinct of those persons was to try to prevent the man from catching his crabs. The first instinct. And I made a point on Facebook that the truth of the matter is that if some other names were attached to that activity, it would have been a brilliant idea. It would have, and I can't help feeling that way. Then I have to ask, and Trelawney people, Falmouth people especially, you're not taking care of yourself, because here is what we have done in the meantime. And these people complaining about environmental issue with respect to crab catching, where were they when they block up the water from when they built the highway and block up the water from going over into the swamp to allow for the Gadami to survive? Where were they? Gadami is something from year to year that Trelawney people and Falmouth people, Martha Brae people, Granville people are used to year in, year out, until they block up the fresh water from the seasonal rain, which causes the Gadami to come up to breed, because they breed in fresh water like salmon. And it's when they're coming up to meet that rushing, it has to be rushing, that rushing fresh water, that we're able to dip our baskets and our nets in the water and catch those Gadami and, do what we do. So I don't understand how they're coming down. Anybody should come down so hard. Additionally, and I think after I confronted them on Facebook, one of the writers did go back and say, well, it is possible to breed crabs. It is possible. It's something that can be done. It's been done in some other countries. While other countries, their crab population has been depleted for overfishing, XYZ, but it is possible. Why did we not come up now and say we need to assist this man in rearing or breeding crabs so that he can do it? Why did we not take the idea that it could become an industry and move it right along? Now, you've heard me before when I say I cannot understand how the Marine Lab and the university is not actually breeding fish in captivity for the early years or the early time of their life and releasing them into the sea. The parrotfish at one time, we've been asked to stop fishing parrot. Why are we not breeding parrotfish or snapper or any other fish for that matter to repopulate our Caribbean and our Jamaican waters with the fish stock that we need? What is that not possible? Is it far-fetched? Why are we not thinking? Our rivers, why are we not putting tilapias, fingerlings in the water, in the river to survive, and so that people can make a living, if not feed themselves from that endeavor? So I don't know. Farming don't just stop a planting piece of yam. And we must get a little bit more sophisticated in terms of our approach to feeding ourselves. And it cannot be that what we want to do is to say that a man catch a parrotfish, we're going to arrest him, restrict him, because parrotfish are endangered, when really and truly fish breeding is not such a difficult science. It is not such a difficult science. And as it turns out now, crab breeding for the people of Rock and the environments, Martha Braid, Danieltown, and crab breeding is not an impossible endeavor. So I just want the man them who every time a man try a thing, I mean, I don't even, I know where I use the term. Every time some set of people try a thing, they are beaten down. You want to tax them. I think 2 weeks ago I was talking about somebody who well, I didn't talk about the person, but I mentioned that prostitution should perhaps be decriminalized and there should be no tax put on that particular endeavor. My argument is that the women, the country, the region has been built primarily on the backs of women in the area. And so when they decide what they want to do with their body, who are we to stop them? You know, every time there's a little avenue for the average individual to make something of themselves, we come with an argument to shut it down. No, there was a context in which I said that there should be the decriminalization of prostitution. You can take me up on that if you want me to go through it by calling or texting 876-482-4944 or 876-317-1991, and we will discuss it further. Because I have my pastor friends, who are going to say, Ed, you say that you're a Christian. What is this argument that you're making out? I will explain if you want me to. I will definitely explain. All right? And explain the context in which I said that. So remember now, Community Buzz, Fit FM 96.7, Your Life, Your Music. Text us, WhatsApp, call us at 876-482-4944 or 876-317-1991. We have things that we can discuss. All right. Moving right along, we were talking to the people from the family court, and one of the cases I raised was the idea of a child shooting another child and is now charged for murder. Again, this is symptomatic of our country just simply going in the wrong direction. And we need to get family back together. This afternoon, I'm going to again call for the replacement in name and also in nature of the Gender Affairs Ministry and to rename it with substance as the Ministry of Family and Community Affairs. I'm going to go a little bit further. Since we have an administration in power, I'm going to suggest that Mrs. Holness be asked to take up such a ministry as a family person and to lead that ministry. She's a strong Black woman. She is more than intelligent, more than capable, and more than understanding of the need of Jamaican families. All right. And so I'm calling for that Ministry of Family and Community Affairs to kind of bring back, help us to repair families. This issue of the family court stopping at a point and we don't know who picks up and if it's picked up properly, all of that. We need to deal with this and we need to bring it under a kind of umbrella that gives us our best bang for our buck. So we have that as an issue. Miss Blaine, Betty Ann Blaine, prominent child advocate, has been calling on the PM to react to the child or children being shot and all of that, because it's not only the child shooting the child that occurred in the last 2 weeks. There were some drive-by shootings in which children were killed and other incidents that really and truly they were just atrocious and should be dealt with. But what Mrs. Blaine or Miss Blaine is calling for is for the PM to react. We're long past reaction now. We're long past this situation of being reactive. I think we have witnessed as Jamaicans the whole business of 9-day wonder because we just react. It happened today, we just react. We just react. We need to set a situation again through an agency like the Ministry of Family and Community Affairs that will help us to deal with these issues. Mr. Prime Minister, you're building a whole lot of houses, you say. As a matter of fact, you intend to build more houses to tie housing privileges or house owning privileges to the formation of families. Yeah, give some preference. I'm not saying that you must leave out anybody in particular, but give some what should I say, preferences to people making new families. You married 5 years ago, or you're just getting married, drop the name in a lottery, allow support marriage. Support marriage. I had not intended this because I say another time, but I'm going to say it anyway. The context within which I said that prostitution should be legal is that I want also a home wrecking law. People who are going to people's family, go wreck them family, must be dissuaded. They must be dissuaded. And so, while there is a man and woman arrangement, as Dr. Asher would tell me, there is still need for the sake of the country to do everything it can to protect family. And so, when a home wrecker goes in, is either when a complainant arrives, that home wrecker is going to, especially if divorce is involved, that home wrecker is going to pay a part of the cost for reparation for wrecking that marriage or declaring self a prostitute. It's simple as that. No, there's nothing, well, if there's nothing wrong with, but you're going to have to declare that you are a prostitute in order to avoid having to pay. And you having to do that is not going to be very nice on you. So we need, and these are ideas what might be fool, you know. On the face of it, might be fool. But what I want my listeners to do, what I want our listeners to do, is to think. My solution might not be possible at all. It may be just stupid. But we need to think about family protection in Jamaica, because it is only with the protection of the family that we're going to get a high probability of good youngsters coming out of the homes. This Senna Road got big, this child or youth delinquency, all of that. The best resolution to that is family support on the front end, not waiting to take out children out of the family home and put them into institution. That's not the best solution. It is not. And so what we want to do is to be strengthening families. I don't feel that I actually did justice to my own explanation in relation to the prostitution situation, but you all can call me on that if you want. It's a good reason for you to call. I'm looking at my paper now, and we're seeing seeing a man setting a woman ablaze and setting our business ablaze. How do we get to that? How do we get to that? As a nation, how do we get to that? And although this approach in terms of the activity was different, it seemed as if ownership of partners, when you get a partner now, it's not a partner you're actually taking on. Most of us seem to be taking on prisoners. So nobody can talk to nobody else. Nobody can interact with nobody else. And we can't talk out nothing. We can't solve our problems by discussing and talking. We have to go to this extent. I mentioned Peter earlier on, who threatened that woman in that voice note. Where did Peter come from? We were not born like this. Where did this attitude come from? This attitude of possession of each other. And I think we need to find a way to remedy this kind of problems as we go through to trying to build a better society. I'm going to take a break now if my if my producer will allow. And I'm going to read through some of your emails and just to check whether or not you have been saying anything that you might want brought out here. So, Jericho, big up yourself. We take a break.
There is never a break from keeping fit and maintaining great health. Join me, Mr. Fitness, weekday mornings at 6:30 a.m. on Fit FM 96.7 as we jumpstart your day with fun aerobics exercises to get your heart pumping and your body moving. Get fit. It's worth it. Fit FM 96.7, Trelawney's Radio, your life, your music.
Restoration Ministries presents Talk with Rev, with host Rev Rowan Dunn, Tuesdays at 4 p.m. on Fit FM 96.7. You can also join us on YouTube, Facebook at Fit FM 96.7, your life, your music. I was lost, but now I'm found. Was bound, but now I'm free.
Join the Trelawney Cooperative Credit Union with locations in Water Square, Falmouth, and Albertown for your financial tips on Fit FM 96.7. Let us and TCCU teach you how to reach your financial goals. That's your financial tips on Fit FM 96.7. Your life, your music.
It's who I got. Every word of worship. With one accord. Every praise. Tuesday mornings on Fit FM, it's all about worship and praise. Hey, join me, the Reverend Junior Rutti, on Fit FM 96.7, 8:30 a.m. through 10 a.m. for Praise Up Tuesday, your mid-morning experience. Come with me every Tuesday as we send up the praises to our God on this station, Fit FM 96.7, your life, your music. Y'all got it now. Help us sing every praise.
Have you ever desired to experience rebirth in your body, mind, and soul? Then join me, your host, Pastor Chadale Smallwood, aka The Poetic Revolution, on Fit FM 96.7 every Tuesday evening at 6 inside Gospel and Soul for Rebirth, where redemption eventually brings into reality total healing. That is Rebirth on Fit FM 96.7 Gospel and Soul. Your life, your music.
At A Gentle Touch of Care Home Health Services, Duncan Trelawney, we believe in person-centered care. We take pride in improving the health and quality of life of all our residents. Join me, Jody Marie Bihari, Monday mornings at 8 a.m. right here on Fit FM for A Gentle Approach to a Healthier You. That's 8 a.m. Fit FM 96.7, your life, your music.
Do you operate a small business in Trelawney? Well, talk to us. Be a proud community partner of Fit FM 96.7. Let us help you reach your target audience for an unbelievably low cost. Contact our sales office today at 876-544-0791, 876-377-3442, or email us at fitfmsales@gmail.com. Fit FM 96.7, Trelawney's Radio, your life, your music.
Yes, we're back. Just want to again big up some people who are trying to participate in the conversation that we're having, and to tell Jericho, you say people are eating poisoned food and they have low self-esteem. You have been very succinct or very short in your statement on that, but I tend to want to agree with you that there must be something in the water. There must be something in the water. Thelma Gomez again said that they think, meaning there are people who think their partners are personal property and they can do as they please with him or her, and that seemed to be the trend of the thinking of those persons. I can't understand it still, and we just need to get involved as community, as family, to try to just navigate these issues that we're dealing with. I see the Minister of National Security is modernizing the police force continuously. I don't know, I'm still asking for a crime plan that involve some approach to some leading indicators. And that is what my Ministry of Family and Community Affairs is about. Not to deal with crime after the fact, but to begin to make the homes such a place that it does not produce criminals. Yeah. And so there was a time when it was just easy to say and easily believed that it takes a village to raise a child. And right now we're not doing that. You talk to a child too, but right now we asked a question earlier on to the family court about discipline, and we hear what we cannot do. And basically what we cannot do is simply nothing. But at the end of the day, when gallows time come, what happen? And I'm not encouraging anybody to abuse their children. I'm not encouraging abuse, right? I got beaten as a child, got some proper flogging, but producers are flying lick too. But no abuse. And still I've seen people who have been very abusive towards their children. And the truth of the matter is that the government cannot determine who will be abusive and who will not. But we have to we can't always go to the extreme, because sometimes to save their souls, we really have to get drastic. And it's better, to me, it's better not to have the state get drastic and for me to protect my child in terms of correction. Not sparing the rod if I don't have to, and then leading to the spoiling of the child. So those are issues we have to debate too. What is abuse, what is not abuse, where, at what point do you get abusive as opposed to being reasonable and all of that. Some of these issues, again, as community, we have to discuss how we're going to deal with that. So from the Ministry of Justice, the Ministry of National Security, all those responsible ministries, please look at it. See that the root of our problem lies in how we do family. And you must recognize that as a country of predominantly black people, perhaps 90 or so percent black people, we don't really know much about family. Slavery was just 100 and little bit years ago, where the family was torn apart. Male members of what used to be a family were asked to procreate with their mothers in order to provide strong slaves. That is how men were asked to go with their daughters, were put to go with their daughters in order to provide slaves. That is part of the background that we're coming from. We're coming from a background where men were considered buck if they're strong enough. And that he is in the slave community. That is part of how he earns his pride and privilege, because he was a buck. So everything come to him. So it's not surprising that coming down the line, the sons of those slaves want to portray themselves as buck or bucks. So we need some deep-seated intervention to realign family, to promote family, and to get back there as a leading indicator to deal with a lot of the social issues with which we're dealing. Now, when I say slavery and the impact of slavery, if you don't believe me, that had a significant impact, look at the peoples in Jamaica who are able to maintain family. For them, family never broke up for come here now. They came as indentured servants, most of them, who never come as slave master. And so they have been able to retain a lot of their culture. Some of them retain their language to this day. So they maintain their family traditions and can trace it back to India, to China, to Pakistan, to Lebanon, all across the world. The only people who find it difficult, if not impossible, to trace their roots are the Africans. And I'm not making any excuse for anybody. What I'm saying is that our people now must get sense in our head and see that we're not going anywhere in treating each other how we do, in allowing ourselves to continue to be slaves, both in mental, from a mental capacity and from physical capacity. As Marley said, emancipate yourself from mental slave. We have to start thinking that way, or else the problems are going to continue. How else? If we don't promote family, how else are we going to get to Vision 2030 when Jamaica is a place to live, work, and raise families? What kind of family are we raising? What kind of families are we raising? So when I say I know that my ideas are not necessarily the ones that would come out, but let us think about it as a society. Let us think about the problems and ideas to solve them. Let us think about the ideas to solve them. Most of us know some of the problems. The other thing is misdiagnosing. I complain about this again because we have a tendency to think in Jamaica that we have a violence against women problem, a violence against children problem, a violence against elderly problem. No, we are a violent society. We need to admit that quickly. The quicker we admit that and start to addressing it, the better off we will be in the future. We cannot continue like this and remain a civilized state. I want to know, I tell you no, we cannot. All right? Now, to complexify, I'm making another word, to complexify the issue of what we're dealing with now, we have this big issue that is almost tabloid in nature. This issue of a former member of parliament being with underage girls. It may be true. It may not be true. People have axe to grind from both sides. Why not allow the courts to deal with the issues rather than speculate? Oh, by the way, former member of parliament, at this point in time, your party has done you a favor to back you from the highest level. You need to do your party a favor and step aside for the best for your party. Just say that in the interest of your party, you are not guilty, but in the interest of your party, you're going to step aside to make sure that as good a name as possible is preserved for your party. All right? Senator Floyd Morrison did a Facebook thing or did something that came on Facebook. Listen to him. Listen to Floyd Morrison, right? Is a sober voice right there, right? The political fight that is happening internally is bad, and you want to win it, but you might win the battle and lose the war. The truth of the matter is, Mr. Former Member of Parliament, you have already lost. There's no coming back from this. If you win, you lose. And if you lose, you double lose. Because there are people who are going to continue to believe the worst. And that will not be good. So, these issues. Now, again, I'm not so young that I can't remember that in the second half of the, what should I say, the 1970s in Jamaica, there was a contemplation for the reduction of the age of consent. What that means, I don't know. But once we were considering it at that time, then believe you me, there is some remnant feeling that these are not children. For our societies, it is wrong. It is absolutely wrong. But how are we going to deal with it if we do not reorganize our society along the lines of what is good family values? We've been this road before. We have been there before. We have been there before. And I'm saying that we need to re-examine what we're doing. This values and attitude campaign that we ran one time and all of that, all of them just got to waste. All of them just got to waste. We need to sit down and begin to formulate or reformulate how we really want to run our society. And the basis of running our society, I believe that family is extremely important, a very important component of building our society. I had mentioned about the house building and the raffle and all of that kind of thing. Yeah, do things will support family, Mr. Prime Minister. Do things will support family. There's no way to go but up if we decide to do the right thing. All right. Another thing that came out, again, impacting children. Well, this one not just impact children because it impacted some big people too. The accusations of at the Maxfield Park children home. Make we thoroughly investigate these things before we vilify people. See, the whole casual workers came out on the road last week before last, to say, firstly, no, the accused person is not guilty and a charge should not have been placed. Why are we running every time to punish without proper investigation? It would seem to me that we're running a situation where the first to complain is right. So once you go second to rectify the matter, you have no talk because somebody talked before you already. And that talk is taken sometimes as gospel. Jamaica people, we need to learn to allow things to be properly investigated. We can't just take one word and run with it. You can actually see that these people are believing when they went out in the street to demonstrate. They are believing what they say. They have come out for one single dege co-worker because they believe an injustice has been done. Why they have to come around and say we want justice? Have they been spoken to? Was the investigation done to include them? What is happening? So, Maxfield Park Children Home, and we have other homes. Of course, abuses might take place in such institutions. But we could just investigate them properly because I cannot see why the workers at that institution needed to form a gang. Because if them in a ranks and then come out in the way that they came out, that makes them a gang. Why would they form a gang to come out to back wrongdoings? Something is amiss, I think. And so we have to have a proper looking into of that matter. Yeah, but no, I'm not telling you now. I'm not telling you that we're a violent society and we need a different approach from different from just approaching it from this segmented kind of a thing. Yeah, perhaps it would need some segmentation at a point in time. But right now, we're just simply a violent society. So this supermarket worker supervisor in Clarendon got shot about 2 weeks ago or so. And man not afraid nowadays. He survived the first shooting, then go back for him. Then go back for what kind of society we're on? Right? What kind of society are we operating? Yeah? I don't know where we're going. I don't know where we're going. And we need to pull back. We need to pull back. Oh, Lordy. Another big ticket item, because we have to know our country and know our laws. We need to do better. Another big ticket item in the news for last week or the last 2 weeks is the issue of homeschooling, where a prominent entertainer or an entertainer, Rastaman, was charged but then found not guilty of a breach with respect to homeschooling. The gist of the idea is that homeschooling is illegal. No such thing. No such thing. Homeschooling is not illegal. What has happened is that Jamaica has signed, and even before signing to the convention, signed to international charters and convention, which declare education as a basic right of a child. And so the government of Jamaica has to see that every child has a good opportunity for education. That education does not have to come from the school system, because you can apply to the Ministry of Education to homeschool your child for whatever reason. And when the ministry find that the standards for education would be met, the basic standard for education would be met within the education that you're about to give the child, then that go ahead would not be a problem. So make we stop talk off at the top of our head when we're reasoning. Let us understand that it is not wrong, it is not illegal to homeschool your child. And from the newspaper article, I was getting the impression that the police who did the arrest, apart from having a gripe against the individual, the police who did the arrest seem not to have known that homeschooling is not illegal. So let us inform ourselves, because right now in COVID time, what we're primarily doing is homeschooling. The children them dad and yard are do them lessons. And not only dad them yard are do them lessons. It's not like they're doing it independent of the parents, or parental intervention is not required. Parents have it dead with them. Some parents bawl because they're not used to this. Yeah? So, and I'll tell you something too. With this homeschooling situation, I don't think that with COVID doing what it's doing, we're ever really going back. I believe that what is going to happen is that we're going to begin to depend on online learning even more than we are depending on it now, because what we're experiencing now with COVID is emergency online learning. But online learning as a standard will be it in the very near future. Teachers are going to be called upon to begin to become learning guide rather than teachers, because lessons will be taught differently. What is more going to be in style is teaching people how to manipulate the technology. That is where we're going. We are actually going asynchronous learning. That just means you can do it anytime and the teacher not necessarily there. That is the direction that we're heading. Maybe some mix, but that's the direction that we're heading. And so we have to get used to the idea that homeschooling is a new alternative, which a lot of us are going to have to take up. And the teachers are going to have to begin to look at themselves and look if they don't want to reskill themselves. Right now, I myself am participating in an online teaching training class with the IDB, Inter-American Development Bank. And the emphasis is on how we deliver subject matter to students using long distance learning, using technology, and all that kind of jazz. That is the direction in which the world is moving. All right? So, let me get that straight. I have another matter that I want to raise, but before I raise that again, in the past week, we have had, past 2 weeks, we have had what was happening in Israel and Palestine. And what the world is doing now, I don't know. But we had spoken about that last week. And since we spoke week before last, and since that, a ceasefire has been declared between the Palestinian and the Israelis. Question now is that it's kind of a different situation from South Africa, in which we participated from the little baby to the musician to our government. If my memory serves me right, it was Wallace and Shearer who first, as a country and as a government leader, imposed sanctions against South Africa back in the day. First country, me say no. First head of a country, Wallace and Shearer, come from Marthabury, right in Trelawney. So. And that first sanction was a sporting ban against South Africa. That very first action. The funny thing about that is that almost immediately after, who you think put up blockade and sanctions against South Africa? Nobody but Israel. So Israel moved from that positioning to this now, because I'm not so sure that Israel needs all the weight that it's putting in on defending itself. The Palestinians need to back off this idea about pushing Israel in the sea. Because if you decide to push me in the sea, believe you me, of every wink, of every turn that you make, I'm going to try to defend myself. But at some stage, the killing of babies cannot be it, Israel. The killing of babies cannot be it. So that is another matter with which the world has to contend. And I know Jamaican diplomacy will dictate that Jamaica is going to fend for itself. But at some time, you have to understand that when your neighbor house catch a fire, you need for water yours. You need for show an interest. Can't recall who said it now, and I will only paraphrase. When they came for the socialist and the communist, I said nothing. When they came for the homosexuals, I said nothing. When they came for all the other groups that they declared unwanted, I said nothing. And when they came for me, I had nobody to say anything. right? Jamaica, I don't know how we've been very good at diplomacy. I don't know what I don't know what our interest is as a country right now in that regard, but we cannot stay silent. If we're going to be a rational, impartial voice, cool, I would love that. But we cannot stay silent. Israel, you have to defend yourself. But how far? How far will you go? What is some acceptable positioning? And killing women and babies can only perpetuate the feeling of hate that turns to continuous war. No going to do nothing for it. No going to do nothing for it. Most of us who are Christians support Israel and would like to continue to support Israel. But some acts, we have to tell you, Israel, look so pretty, and you perhaps need to address it. I know, for example, that Netanyahu is in a war for himself to retain power. And so this must be a driver within Israel. But we need to talk about it. I take another break. I come back to you as we go on the downside of 5 to wrap up. Yes? I'll be right back here on Fit FM Community Buzz, Your Life, Your Music.
In a world of uncertainty, there's no better place to go than back to the Bible. As you listen to God's truth and discover his promises for your life, you'll be strengthened and encouraged for the days ahead. Our mission is to help you move closer to Jesus today than you were yesterday. So be sure to listen to the Back to the Bible broadcast weekday mornings at 5 o'clock right here on Fit FM 96.7, Your Life, Your Music.
Cultural Mix, an exciting radio show, identifying and showcasing cultural diversity across the world through music, interviews, and lively discussions. Join Bev Moonchild on Fit FM 96.7, Fridays 6 to 8 p.m. Cultural Mix, everything cultural. Tune in. Fit FM 96.7, your life, your music.
Hi there, I'm Carlene Street, inviting you to join me every Sunday on Fit FM 96.7 for We Lickle But With Talawa, a program highlighting Jamaicans who are making significant contributions abroad and their impact on our communities. That's We Lickle But With Talawa, every Sunday at 5:30 p.m. with a repeat on Thursdays at 8:30 p.m. on Fit FM 96.7. Your life, your music.
It's your girl Clover J. Join me weekday morning, 7 to 11, inside Morning Connection, the spot that is jam-packed with features, information, and fun can't done. Come link up, play, and groove to the best music on the planet, right here on Fit FM 96.7, Trelawney's Radio, your life, your music.
Join the Trelawney Cooperative Credit Union with locations in Water Square, Falmouth, and Albertown for your financial tips on Fit FM 96.7. Let us and TCCU teach you how to reach your financial goals. That's your financial tips on Fit FM 96.7. Your life, your music.
Hi, I'm Carl Kaur. Join me Monday to Friday or Children of the Night. Let me keep your company playing your favorites on this station, Fit FM 96.7, your life, your music.
Yes. We are back. I'm going to have to defer what I was about to, the topic I was about to go into, because we're very, very much on the downside of 5. And so I'm going to just move directly to a thing I started a few weeks ago. Again, our where questions coming from God. Our 4 where questions. All the issues that we've dealt with this afternoon, continue to ask God's question to us. The first one, again, you must know this by heart right now. Adam, where art thou? Man, where are you in your head? Where are you in your emotions? Where are you in your spirituality? Where are you with respect to God? God knows where we're there. But what God is asking us to do is to find our bearings. Where are you? Man, where are you? Jamaican man, where are you? The killing of our wives, our girlfriends, the beating of our wives and our girlfriend, the rape, essentially rape of our daughters. What are we doing? Where are we? Man, where are you? The second where question, as you well know, is man, Cain, where is your brother? Again, am I my brother's keeper? Where is your brother? Where is your brother in his head? Are you doing everything to keep him down? Is he resenting you because of that? Are you creating a problem and you can do better? Where is your brother? Where is your brother? Have you done him justice for him to be at a comfortable place? Where is your brother? The third where question that God asked is man, Abraham, where is your wife? Where's your daughter? Where's your mother? Where's your aunt? Where are our women? Have we treated them properly so that they're at a good place in their heads, in their spirituality, in their love for us? Where is your wife? And I can't emphasize anymore that when Abraham was asked that question, he had just sent Sarah around to the kitchen to prepare some food for him and his visitors. When the visitor asked, almost immediately, where is your wife? Again, God knew where Abraham's wife was, because speaking through the visitor, he said, why are you laughing, Sarah? We just made you a promise. Why are you laughing? Sarah said, me not laugh. Me not laugh. I have not laughed. Yes, you have laughed in your head. In your mind, you have laughed. So, Abraham, you've gotten a promise. We're Sarah there on this one. As a matter of fact, as that theme played out, Abraham was to come to find out that Sarah still was not believing, because what she went and do was to find him what do we call him? No, submother. What's that term again? But a substitute mother for his child. Sarah did not believe God that she herself would have born Abraham. Sarah, sorry. Huh? Surrogate, yeah. So what she did was found him a surrogate. And the surrogate no new, you see it? Surrogate no new, none at all. That over 4,000 or 5,000 years old. Right? And the surrogate bring the son. And when God's promise was delivered, a peer problem to this day. We just don't talk about Israel and the Israelis and the Arabs. To this day, peer problem. So we need to understand, where are our women? Have we treated them properly? Are we taking care of them in the way that we would take care of ourselves? Fourth, where question. Women, you did not escape your where question, because Jesus asked the woman at the well, where is your husband? Where is your husband? And there are some women who will tell you on the street point blank, that I have several men. I have one with car transport, one for the money for send gas supermarket, one for do this, one for do. Where is your husband? Where is your husband in his mind? Where is your son? Where is your father? Where is your man? That man in your life, or those men in your life. Where are they? Are they in a good place? Are you serving them well? Maintaining, keeping them straight? Where is your husband? With that, I want to close this afternoon's edition of Community Buzz. I think it was well worth the stay if you're still with us. And I hope that next week you'll come right back, where we can do the same thing all over again. Same thing all over again, to try to discuss, to learn from each other, and to try to make ourselves better people. Better people. Because it is only interacting that we get to attempt to solve our problems and to make a better Jamaica and eventually a better world. I want to thank you for staying with us. I want to thank the guests this evening. We'll put on my S this time, Mom. Try to make sure of that. So we want to thank Mr. Ivan Godfrey here in Trelawney, working for us at the family court in Falmouth, and Miss Fletcher, who works as the director. And I say Ms. Fletcher, not knowing whether or not I should add the title Mrs. All right. So she's the say, me not like you. I hope the listeners didn't even hear that. Yes, sir. A revenge, You are a revengeful woman. But I'm here. So we want to thank our guests from the family court, who gave us some very valuable pieces of information, things that we can take home. And remember, if you have a problem, call them. If you have a problem, call them. Trying to solve our own problems at home don't seem to be working out of late. So just submit yourself to a mediator and allow us to try to gain a better sense of ourselves as we try to make a good society. Thank you once again for tuning in, and God willing, we will come together again next week. Godspeed. Take good care of yourself. Thank you.